Our ship is the Mondor. It is broken.
Ah, boy, I've made a huge mistake. So, after making like 1.5 billion on agronomic treatments, as you do, I decided to treat myself to a completely useless build. Something that wouldn't actually serve a purpose, but would be fun to fly. So, I decided to do a racing build. And I was initially going to do an Eagle, and then I realized that an Eagle with max speed only gets about 7 light years of jump range. So screw that. I started looking into the other options, and the Imperial Courier has excellent maneuverability, a very high top speed, 885, compared to I think it's 932 for the other ships with the fastest meters per second speed. And, well, it turns out you can do a lot more with this ship than just go really fast while retaining its maximum boost speed. The linchpin of this entire build is the sized down fuel tank. You can only carry 4 tons in this thing and still get the maximum boost speed. But that extra 4 tons allows you to pack a lot more into this thing than you'd think. It does dramatically hamper your fast range with jumping, especially considering a ship of this size uses deep charge rather than mass manager. You're going to be spending a lot of time fuel scooping if you want to go anywhere with this, even though it has a 48 light year jump range when fully kitted. But, I mean, it can jump places, and it takes about 11 seconds per star to scoop, which isn't the worst. You know, that's pretty average for anyone who's piloted a Diamondback Explorer. We start the core internals with a 2A power plant. This has relatively good heat efficiency, and it can just barely manage all of the things that we want in it without taking up too much weight. It has to be overcharged grade 3, though, otherwise it starts to cut into some of your utilities. Obviously, enhanced performance thrusters. These are dirty tuning drag drives. Fun fact, below like 64 tons, actually still better to use drag drives than drive distributors. Drive distributors are a very thin window of, I think, 64 tons to 128 tons, where it's actually faster, and then it's back to being drag drives again. There's your frame shift drive, no surprises there. We can fit a 3A in here with the full increased FSD range. Many racer builds use a faster boot sequence instead because it increases your jump range without increasing mass. Grade 5 lightweight life support. Thanks, Etienne Dorn. I'm not going to ask what you did with all of those 25 women and children I gave you. A charge-enhanced power distributor. You might be tempted to use a engine-focused instead, but believe it or not, because a focused enhanced power distributor mainly just boosts the capacity for the focused system. Charge enhanced actually increases the charging rate of every system more than even if it was focused. The optional internals are really where this build starts to open up, as it usually does, I suppose, because I've fitted a frame shift drive booster here. If you really want to be serious about making this a combat build, you can fit a heavier shield, and you probably should. You know, I put a lot of focus on making this ship being able to jump far, and the combat was really an afterthought. We have a Guardian frame shift drive booster and a fuel scoop. That's going to help us get anywhere in this thing. This is not a good bubble bus. It might have a decent range and it might have a fuel scoop, but It has a 500,000 credit rebuy, so I'm still going to be using a hauler, even though this thing can absolutely blitz into a station. You can buzz the air slot at 350 meters a second because that's where your maneuvering range is. These two cargo racks are just here because it kind of feels bad to have empty slots. I can't really fit anything else in here without going over budget for weight. This is a grade 5 enhanced low power shield with high cap. I didn't really put much thought into the high cap. High cap is good for crashing into things, and since this is a race build, I decided to go with that rather than fast recharge. A detailed surface scanner, because if we're going to have this much jump range, we might as well, you know, have exploration tools on us. I just had this grade 5 expanded probe radius probe just sitting around. This is pointless. I should actually probably take this off because it's expensive. And the docking computer and Super Cruise. I keep these on every ship. The docking computer can go. This ship is way too maneuverable to have any issues actually docking. And the Super Cruise Assist, if you don't know, the Super Cruise Assist is great for beginners, and then for intermediate players it becomes a pointless waste of time, and then as you become a expert or a veteran player, it becomes your best friend because it can shave literally minutes off of the approach on every single station. This tool is fundamental for trade routes because if you don't know how to do the Super Cruise Assist trick, look it up. The Super Cruise can pull you out of Super Cruise into a destination at speeds that you would not be allowed to without the tool. So you get to blitz yourself into a station at like 3 megameters a second when you should be doing it at 1. Initially, I was quite shocked just how much I could actually fit in the defenses on the utility mounts for this thing. Shield boosters are pretty much the only module that you would ever want to E-rate because E-rated shield boosters are really light. These ones only cost half a ton for weight. And plugging the thermal hole in our shields is fantastic. I did the math here, and supercapacitors for this build is actually better for thermal resistance than thermoblock. I don't know. Point defense turrets. This is a little glitched. It should be down to 0.7 tons, and the module just can't be completed. But, I mean, it's probably just a rounding error, but I'm not going to sweat it because even though Coriolis or EDSY says that I'm a little over budget for the weight, which the optimal weight for these enhanced thrusters is 61.25 tons. I'm at 61.3. So it's probably just a rounding error. I don't know. We all know how buggy this game is. This is relatively minor, and I can still hit my maximum boost speed of 885 meters a second, so I'm not going to worry about it. As one would expect, this is a miscellaneous lightweight grade 5 heat sink. And then we move on to the hardpoints, which are going to make some people cry, because it's 2 gimbaled multi-cannons, lightweight mount grade 5, one with incendiary rounds, and one with corrosive shell. And then a railgun with lightweight mount oversized. The DPS on this ship is awful because, well, these hardpoints do fit within the weight limitation. They have had to be stripped down so much, and pretty much everyone is going to be running overcharged multi-cannons, and these do probably less than half the damage. The railgun is actually not doing too bad, especially because I can fit it with oversized. But you're not going to have a lot of time on target when you're moving this fast. It would almost be better to use a turreted weapon with how bad I am at actually hitting enemies. Against that Python that you saw in the video, I got it shields down to like 1%, and then it just kept popping banks on me. and I just couldn't outdamage that. I do think that this is a fun build. It's hideously expensive for materials. It's mostly proto-light and proto-radiolic alloys, but, well, yes, you can earn some money in a high-res, and I did, but you're not really doing anything worthwhile. It can do courier missions, it can do light combat. Otherwise, it is a Ridge Racer, it is a toy. This is not really a viable build for anything. You know, for credits, it's actually relatively cheap. I think the whole build actually clocks in at about 22 million, which isn't too bad, you know. By the way, check this out. You may have noticed that while I was fighting that Python earlier, I experienced G-Force Blackout. A lot of people don't think that that's actually a mechanic in the game because there's very few ships that can actually trigger it. But if we keep boosting and we follow these rings, there we go. I blacked out. But that's something that's only going to happen in like 4 or 5 ships in the entire game. While it seems like blacking out might be a fringe thing, it is actually a constant annoyance in this because it's so fast. Pretty much every time that you do a combat maneuver, you have to worry about it. I suppose you could say that it is a limitation put in the game to ensure that maneuverability doesn't become too important. Because otherwise, you could have people out there in Eagles or Vipers just decimating people and having them be completely incapable of fighting back. Although I find that kind of funny when you have out here shield tanks which can just idle in high-res zones and just not die for hours at a time while being attacked by all the pirates. I think it's kind of dumb that G-forces exist in a game in which I am moving several hundred times the speed of light. We should have inertial dampeners in these ships, right? Also, we're piloting this ship by telepresence, so I don't know who's getting the G-force. I'm not going to worry about it. Post-production here, and I completely forgot that flight assist off pretty much negates the existence of G-force blackout, so for the most part it's just a lazy tax, or in my case a stupid tax. I actually did remember to use flight assist off for my maneuvering when I was in that Shakedown run. You can see it in the footage that I showed, but I guess I was just having too much fun. By the way, don't use Super Cruise Assist trick on rings, because then you'll just crash because you overshoot. And that's why I had 98 integrity for most of the video you just watched. Eagle-eyed viewers will notice that our power plant is actually undersized to power everything in our build at once, and that's because we have a Guardian frameshift drive booster which will drink your entire milkshake if you let it. So, our priorities are set so that docking computer and Super Cruise Assist and fuel scoop and Guardian frameshift drive booster are all set at priority 5, which means that when I do this, everything that I need for Super Cruise and when I'm not in combat shuts off. Oh boy, look at this. This guy driving a Sidewinder has the rank of dangerous, and his friend has an Eagle. Yeah, this might actually be a fight that I can win. Let's see what we can do. Oh, this is sad. He keeps trying to scan me. Whoops. Hey, where'd your friend go? There you are. Yep. Blacking out. There we go. There we go. I got him 2 seconds before the space cops got him. Good job, me. So one of the reasons why you want to use the charge-enhanced power distributor and have it at a high grade is because it lets you boost every 5.1 seconds, which is almost the fastest that you're actually even able to boost in this ship. Engine-focused would not let you do this. It would be slower. You just have to be careful not to hit any one of these rocks, because even with this shield, you will explode. And I've done it. Of course, the good thing about having a ship this fast is that if you ever decide that you were about to lose, just get out of there. There's nothing keeping you here. Boost away at 885 meters a second. No one is ever going to catch you.
3, 2, 1, engage.
And here we go. Here's going to be the Super Cruise Assist trick. Probably. Now, I know I said that I have a docking computer on all of my ships. I don't really. But docking computers save a lot of time for when you're making trade route runs. And, you know, if you have the space for it, you might as well. Important note when buzzing the airlock that fast is that you have to immediately reverse thrust. You're about to hit the back wall. Come on, there we go. One of the fun things about actually docking this ship is that your lateral thrusters are going to be so strong that it's difficult to keep yourself to small movements to actually land it. Still, you're gonna be able to beat the docking computer by about 2 minutes. There's a modification that probably make this build a lot more viable. It's feedback cascade on this railgun. But I'm not a good enough of a pilot to actually get good uptime on my railgun shots. I don't think that I could really counter a shield cell bank being popped effectively. I mean, you saw me fighting there. I'm not that great for aiming. It's all gimbal, especially in a ship that moves around this fast. Ultimately, I feel that this ship is the perfect embodiment of a midlife crisis. It looks really cool. It goes really fast. It has guns so that you can pretend that you're going to be useful. It can even haul a bit of cargo if you don't mind going slightly less fast. But it's worth a try. Or maybe it isn't. It might not actually be worth a try. It depends on how much of a tolerance you have for grinding engineering materials. Ultimately, this is a game about spaceships. And, well, if you like building spaceships, why not build something that's big and stupid and dumb, or fast and maneuverable? And that's why I built this ship, the Imperial Flipper. Yes, it's a clipper built for HGE mining, but that's a topic for another video, if I ever feel like it.